When you enter into my field, I am the commander of my reality. I am the creator of what I create around here. You don't get to rape and steal my fucking energy without my goddamn consent. I don't consent to you. I am the way of connection. I am the way of harmlessness and gentleness. I am the way of unconditional love. I am the way of purity. So I purify my energetic fields. I purify you. I wrap you in a web of purity because I am the way of purity. You want to come anywhere near my energy field, you fucking Archons, you are going to transcend. You're going to be wrapped in the frequency of the way of purity because I am the way of purity. And I am going to wrap you and I am going to alchemize you, and you are going to transcend to a higher level of consciousness. And if you choose not to do that and you don't consent to that, then you must get away from me, far, far away. I command you to transcend and alchemize and become a being of oneness. This is a death rebirth for you. I command it to be so. When you enter into my field, I am the commander of my reality. I am the creator of what I create around here. You have no consent or permission to be here in my energy unless you raise your frequency, your level of consciousness. You cannot exist as you are. You need to cease to exist to be in the presence of me. So I command you to rise. I am the way of purity. I am the way of loyalty to becoming something more divine and more powerful, which means if you want to function in oneness instead of separation, you must rise as well when you are in the presence of me. You do not have permission to be here. Command, warriors, command it to be so. And it simply is done. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast, your highest source of sacred truths and universal wisdom. Hello, beautiful souls. I'm Rachel Fiori, mystic, spiritual teacher, psychic healer, and founder of Masters of Self University. Join our journey of soul transformation as we deep dive into this latest episode.
Hello, everyone. Rachel is going to get started in just a moment. I just wanted to let you know that we experienced a little bit of technical difficulty when Rachel was recording this podcast. And the first 10 to 15 minutes, you're going to notice her cutting in and out, something to do with the frequency and the signal while she was recording that first section on the Archons. Kind of ironic, kind of interesting. You'll know what I mean when you listen to it, but just stick with it. The audio does clear up after about 10, 15 minutes, and the rest of the podcast is largely uninterrupted. So we apologize for any of this, but please enjoy the wisdom, enjoy the teaching of this incredible episode. Over to you, Rachel.
Hello, beautiful souls and magnificent beings. Welcome to Masters of Self University podcast. I'm Rachel Fiori, and we are going to talk about Archons, mental anguish, psychic attacks, and what is really going on when you are trying so hard to heal yourself, elevate, raise your frequency, heal your traumas. You start to get higher, feeling better, and then it just seems like the mental programs, it seems like the negative, horrible thoughts come flooding in worse than ever before. It's like they get worse. Everything gets more negative. Yes, let's talk about what is really actually going on. These are Archons, and we're going to talk about what this, which some of you obviously, I'm sure already know, but let's dive in. Let's find out what is really happening. I want to be very clear. This is not the consciousness. This isn't about being powerless. This isn't about, I have no power. Oh no, I'm being attacked. I'm so weak and pathetic. No, being, step up, actually are divinely powerful being. Your power comes within yourself. I want you to remember that throughout the rest of this episode. What you need to heal, to elevate, to become a warrior, to change the entire freaking planet is inside of you. That is so important right there. And I want you to remember that. There is none, zero tolerance around here. Zero tolerance for powerlessness and victim consciousness. Oh, I'm being attacked. So is everybody else. I mean, that's part of winning the fuck for real. Aren't we all? Especially if you're a woman. Everyone's attacked. Everyone is. The whole point of being on this planet, this slave planet, is that we are that enslaved. We're the slaves. Hello. So no more victim consciousness here. Get it the fuck on. Get it gone. No more. 2025, done, gone. That was an old timeline, victim consciousness. All right. I am divinely powerful. I can alchemize. I can transcend. I can transform absolutely anything. I can become anything I wish to become by simply doing the work. That means alchemizing everything in this world, everything in my individual life that is negative, that is harmful, that is unloving, that is less than divine. Start with yourself, and let's start with these fucking Archons. Let's understand what they are. Let's go back a little bit here. Let's go back. Let's go back. Not to the beginning of time, but partially of when planet Earth was really taken over by the demiurge, by the false god that everybody's brainwashed to call God, this fake fucking male, misogynistic, narcissistic psychopath that everybody is brainwashed to believe in whatever effing religion you are dumb enough to be brainwashed and conditioned to believe in. All religions you to this false who uses Archons to help enslave people. All right. So if you're really triggered and stuck and you fucking have learned to pray to some piece of shit, narcissistic, misogynistic, psychopathic, fake god, that's your problem. Go heal. Go somewhere else. You're not ready for this. It's okay. But you're not going to be able to love because that's what we offer here. And that all of what this fake false god, which has enslaved all of humanity and all the beings and sentient beings on this planet, that's what this demiurge psychopath has done. Okay. So you have to have just the tiniest to begin to understand what he actually is, what slave that actually is, and then because they are minions of this false god, patriarchal demiurge, so psychopath. That's what Archons are. So Archons are entities. They're energetic entities. They are beings, but they're not in physical form. They're energetic entities. They're the minions of this demiurge, of this fake false god. And by the way, while we're at it, side note, more misogyny, more patriarchal lying bullshit just to fucking blame women for everything so men don't have to take accountability for any fucking thing in this world. Let's talk about Goddess Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, wisdom itself. Because when we talk about this demiurge, this false god that has enslaved humanity and taken over planet Earth, you have to understand that part of what patriarchy does is just nothing but fucking invert everything and lie to you. I mean, you have to have a clue by now that that's what's really, everything's inverted, right? Everything is an inversion. That's what patriarchy is. It's all fake, illusion, false, bullshit, brainwashing, all of it. So part of that is, the goddess Sophia's wisdom herself. And then Sophia gave birth, didn't ask permission from God, which just goes back to the fake fucking God to begin with. Low distortion. Oh. Okay. So very quickly, just in case you're not familiar with this, I'm going to give you a very quick rundown. So as patriarchy lies and makes this shit up, this is what they want to fucking tell you and brainwash you with in order to really ingrain misogyny. That goddess Sophia, wisdom itself, didn't ask permission from God to go create more gods. And so she gave birth to God, which is this demiurge that took over planet Earth. Because she didn't ask permission. Does this sound familiar? Women will recognize this way more than most men will. She didn't ask permission from her father, from the man. See, women are subservient. They're subjugated. They're oppressed. They can't do anything. So you itself, Goddess Sophia herself, wisdom itself, enough to go give birth and do something out of divine order. Like, first of all, okay, this is what patriarchy does. This is what patriarchy actually does to brainwash. And those of you that you work to climb upon stupid, and then you perch yourselves on top of Mount Stupid and act like, oh, and here's how this, goddess Sophia, the goddess of wisdom, was dumb enough. Okay. Patriarchy and brainwashing. Can you not spot it yet? Like, come on, we have to get better at this game. Okay. You got to get better at this game. Spotting the truth as the way of truth. So that's the story. It's all her fault because we're going to blame women for everything. We take the focus off of this fucking sadistic, psychotic, demiurge, fake god who enslaves and tortures and requires sacrifice and murders and rapes and does all the fucking psycho shit. Let's take all the focus off of that and blame Goddess Sophia herself for creating this. It's all her fault. That is what patriarchy does, ladies and gentlemen. That is just patriarchy lying to you and creating false fucking fake bullshit to take so no male energy has to take accountability for any fucking shit they do, no matter how psychotic. Okay, so as this side note, it's important for you to understand. Go look it up if you want to look it up. But that's the story of why we have this false fake god, because it's all a woman's fault. Even though a male god, is ruling the planet and created a slave planet, but somehow it's still a woman's fault that he's choosing to do what he does. Zero accountability. We don't even function in this world as this patriarchal world, which is 100% narcissistic, which means we take zero accountability. We lack the very first way of oneness out of 20, the way of responsibility, because we refuse to take accountability for anything. It is important to understand that and to see those patterns. Those are narcissistic patterns, which is what this planet is the framework of this matrix is. It's misogynistic, narcissistic psychopathy is what the whole matrix actually is. So this false, fake, made up, I'm the only god that exists because I'm really jealous of women and I'm in competition and I hate the feminine, so I'm going to create a planet where I rip all the feminine out of all of us and I just fucking oppress the feminine and rape and murder and demean the feminine and I subjugate her. That's what this world is, which is why everybody's so fucked up. And part of that, trapping everybody in the brainwashing, the conditioning of what patriarchy actually is, and keeping humans and all animals, by the way, all sentient beings as slaves, is to now let me send my little soldiers out to keep people on functioning at the lowest, most negative, harmful, terrible vibrational frequencies of suffering. That's where Archons come in, because they help keep everyone low. And here's how they work. You ready? These entities, I already mentioned to you, they are negative, low entities that feed off of hate, anguish, suffering, rage. Oh, they love that. Any inequality, any racism, any hate, misogyny, you name it. Depression, PTSD, anxiety, suicidal thoughts. Perfect. Those are just perfect for Archons to feed off of. So they feed off of low vibrational frequencies. You know how some animals, some types of vultures, and I don't mean to insult vultures, by the way. This is not an insult of any animal, but it's just an analogy I'm going to give you. You know how there are dead carcasses that you'll see in the woods on the side of the road, dead animals. Who cleans that up? Who feeds off of that? So certain kind of vultures, just to give a simple analogy, they clean up the dead, rotting carcasses. You understand? That's what they feed off of. That's their fuel. That's their food. Okay. And of course, in a true environment of oneness, we need that and we want that. That's a positive thing. As far as Archons go, none of it's positive. It's all fucking evil and negative. So don't get them mixed up. But it's just to give you a visual, to give you an example. That vulture, they're not gonna feed off of, some leafy mixed greens. They're not gonna feed off of a little carrot juice. They need a dead, rotting carcass. That's what they feed off of. That's their fuel. You got it? Okay. This is how Archons function. They need you low, in anguish, in emotional agony, in desperation, in hopelessness, in suffering and despair, in hate, rage, anger, all of it. They need you in that chronic state of depression. They need you in constant anxiety, having your panic attacks and your PTSD episodes. Like, this is what they feed off of. And when we are that low and functioning that low as an entire aggregate, as an entire collective, all of humanity, then that's what keeps us enslaved, because we function way too low on that consciousness scale, which also then means the mental and emotional energetic scale. If we are way too low in our level of consciousness and we're hopeless and suffering and in survival mode, and that's what they feed off. So that keeps us as slaves. You can't rise up against your slave owners, your oppressors. You can't do anything. You won't. It's not that you can't. You won't. You will not rise up and do what needs to be done to take these motherfuckers down, to incinerate all of them. You won't rise up and do what actually needs to be done because you're too fucking low in your level of vibrational frequency. That means emotionally, mentally, physically, you don't have any energy. Archons are feeding off of you. So here's what I want you to take note of, all of you beautiful beings who are working very hard on yourselves, who have been working hard to heal and to elevate. You're doing the hard work, and it's warriors' work. It is no joke. No spiritual bypassing. That's all bullshit. I mean, look at the world. Christ almighty. Did you learn something yet? Spiritual bypassing. Oh, positive only. Get the fuck out of here. You're perched on Mount Stupid, preaching from top of Mount, peak of Mount Stupid. Get out of here. So those of you who have been working hard and trying to heal your trauma and elevate and raise your level of consciousness, you really are doing your best and you're doing that work. Here's what you're going to notice. You ready? Because this kind of sucks. But it's also enlightening when you realize, as the way of wisdom, as the way of truth, what's happening here. You will start to rise. You will rise your frequency. You'll learn how to heal. You'll move through. You'll process. You'll alchemize. You'll raise your frequency. You'll start to activate a universal way of oneness, and you'll start to become that frequency. And as you raise your frequency, you're like, oh my gosh, this is incredible. This works. No shit, it does. Yes, it does. It absolutely can't not work. When you learn energetics, there's no such thing as it doesn't work. Energy is energy. It functions the way energy functions. You just learn to work with energy in its purest form, right? That's everything we teach in our classes at Masters of Self University. So you do that work. You learn how to do this stuff. You learn how to work with energy and frequencies, and you're becoming the way of wisdom and knowing what to do, what not to do, but how it's working and why, and what is happening with energies. And you feel it and you translate that energy, and you start to then work at higher and higher, abilities and levels to be able to alchemize energy in various ways. And as you do this, what you're going to notice is it's like, oh my gosh, yay, this is so incredible. Of course this works. I did it. Oh, I'm becoming higher frequency and higher consciousness, and I'm healing and I'm becoming whole and all these beautiful, wonderful things. And then all of a sudden, you will have a day from hell. And I mean mentally. The most intrusive negative thoughts come in, and just, it's like you can't shake them. It's like fleas on a dog. It's like, try to get rid of fleas on a dog. They're just swarming, and they're there, and they're like everywhere. And every time you get one off, it's like there's 20 more. Okay. So I know some of you listening to this can really relate to this, no matter where you're at, doing the real work on yourself. No matter where you are on your journey of elevation, of evolution. I know so many of you can relate to this. Here come the intrusive, negative, horrible thoughts, and it just seems to overtake you, and then you start to feel powerless. And then you get frustrated and angry, and your energy goes down. Your frequency just starts to drop, right? How many of you can relate to what I just described? Truly, how many of you? And write it in the comments, because people sometimes are afraid to be like, yeah, I'm doing all this work on myself. And then I have this terrible, shitty, like the thoughts are so intrusive. These are Archons doing what they do. These are Archons. Remember, no victim consciousness, no powerlessness allowed in here. Okay. I want you to understand how this works. As you become the way of wisdom, you understand how this works. You're becoming the warrior that can fight the battle, and you just alchemize these motherfuckers and command them to get away from you. When you're powerful enough energetically, it is at a frequency level. Hear that as I say it. When you are powerful at a frequency level, and it is everything we teach you step by step, class by class at Master Self University. I mean this. Everything that we teach in our coursework is laid out for a reason, the way that it's laid out, so that you can become powerful enough to do what I'm going to say right now, what you can do. Because this is, you have the power to do this. So, number one, observe that here come all of those crazy thoughts. Now, you ready? Listen carefully. Activate the wave presence 3 times at minimum if you need to really hear this. Number one, the neural pathways that are ingrained, that are the strongest, that run your programming, your wounds, those are going to rise up, and this is part of what you experience. I need to say this, state this very clearly. So you need to then continue to do the work. You do the work more. When all these thoughts and all this shit negativity starts coming up, oh, I felt so great yesterday. I was doing so amazing. I had like 3 days I felt amazing. And all of a sudden, here come all the intrusive, negative, terrible thoughts to tear you down and pull you back low. Number one, your own trauma, wounding, your own programs of, for example, if there are programs and conditioning in their mental programs, emotional programs of you're incapable, you're not good enough, you can't do anything right. If you have anything like that, those neural pathways are going to get extra strong. They're going to amplify and vibrate, and they're going to start firing because they're dying. They're starting to die off. That's where people make their first mistake. They stop doing the work. This is too hard. I can't do this. I don't want to feel bad. And then they go back and reattach, and they actually strengthen the old neural pathways that keep you stuck and in your shit and not elevated out of it. And then you're like, this doesn't work. No, you gave up. You quit. That's why this is warrior's work. No matter how painful, no matter how hard, no matter how challenging, you keep fucking going. You do it more. You have to understand that, number one. Okay. Got that? Listen to that again if you need to. Push that aside. Number two, what's happening? In addition to that happening biologically at a neural level, neural pathway level, when you start creating new frequencies and start firing and creating brand new neural pathways in your brain and body, the old ones are going to fight and try to stay alive. So you have to do the work that you learn long enough to create the new neural pathways so the old ones literally die off. It is a very unpleasant process. That's why weak people don't heal. Warriors do. Okay? That's number one. Number two, Archons can't feed off of you when your frequency is raising. Remember, like the vultures that eat the dead carcasses, the low, gross, bleh, they don't then go just start eating leafy greens. They need a dead freaking carcass. Do you understand? So Archons need you to be the dead fucking carcass. So you start elevating and going higher, you're now not food. They can't eat that, which means they're starving. They need your negative energy to feed them and fuel them. You see it? It's a symbiotic, sick, sadistic relationship energetically that everybody's trapped in. So this is number two. This is the second thing that's happening. These negative entities show up and they start putting on these thoughts. Negative. Here's how you know it's them. First of all, because I just fucking told you. Did you not hear? That's what I told you. That's part of what's happening. This is your mental anguish, and your psychic attacks are from Archons. Okay. So that's how you know it's happening. I just taught it to you. This is part of what's going on. You also know it's happening with your level of self-awareness. What you're going to notice, loop. You're going to loop. The thoughts will repeat themselves almost in this psychotic way. over and over and over and over and over and over. You're trapped in, this is so unfair. I can't stand this. It's so fucking unfair. There is a, pay attention to your mental programming, especially when you felt like high, vibrationally high, right? Good. Oh, doing work. Oh, I feel great. This is awesome. I just did some healing. And then all of a sudden it's like I'm crashing and going negative and I'm low. Oh, oh my God, the thoughts, the intrusive thoughts. Pay attention. When it loops around the same topic, the same thing over and over, that looping, those are archons. They are fueling you with thoughts, negative thoughts, negativity, just over and over and over and over. And they get louder in order to knock you down low enough to feed off of you again. Okay? That's your psychic attack. It pushes you, it draws you down into this mental anguish. And then there's all of your chain reaction domino effect of emotional reactions that are all going to be negative, of course, because all the thoughts, the mental frequencies are extraordinarily negative. Mental frequencies activate the same vibrational frequencies of emotional frequencies and vice versa. Negative emotions, negative thoughts follow. Negative thoughts, negative emotions follow. If you're really freaking unconscious, your behavioral programs then follow. And you're behaving at the frequency level of that emotional, mental frequency level, which is all negative and shit. That's why we act out when we don't feel well, when we're negativity and we're angry and we act out. All of that is frequency. If you want to learn more and understand more about that, sign up for Master Self University, become a student. This is what we teach you in our coursework. So if you understand that you're being attacked by archons in order to bring you lower, what do you then do? So any students at MSU, you already know what to do. You learn it and you practice it and you integrate it and we support you and we help you and we course correct, class by class, level by level. We're teaching this to you all the time. You already know what to do. For everybody else, I want you, at least this is where you start, that you do this to the best of your ability on your own. Okay? If you don't have the teachings and you're not a student, at least try your best to do this. Okay? Drop into your heart, activate your light. And for those of you who are familiar with the Universal Ways of Oneness, all the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness, you always activate them a minimum of 3 times out loud. And if you're really new, you can get the 20 Universal Ways of Oneness. You can order the book and read about every Universal Way of Oneness. On our website at Master Self University, we have free energy activations, a lot of free stuff that you can use too. Now, I'm letting you know all of that because I want you to have the resources to help you be successful with this. If you're not a student, these are the things you have to do. Remember, you have to actually put forth the effort to see real change happen. You have to change yourself. This is partially how you do it. If you're not a student at MSU, at least gather these resources that will help you be successful as you can doing it on your own, okay? So just know that those resources are there to help you and support you. Use them. So activate the ways of oneness. Pick one. Whatever one intuitively feels good to you. If you're new to this, again, and you're not a student, so you don't know all the teachings and all of that stuff, start with the way of connection. It's the best one to start with when you're brand new and you're not sure how to do this on your own. You activate the way of connection 3 times. Feel what that feels like in your body. Drop into your heart. Spend a minute growing your light and expanding that throughout your entire body. And then you're going to out loud 3 times activate the way of connection. I am the way of connection. Breathe, feel. I am the way of connection. Feel what that does to your body, shifting your body. I am the way of connection. That anchors in and activates. You're now vibrating to the best of your ability that you're able to in this moment. You are vibrating as the way of connection, at least to some degree. And the more you say it, I am the way of connection, the more it amplifies the frequency. Okay? That's where you start. When you do that, those archons, one of 2 things for the most part. Again, y'all, this is a podcast. I give as much as I possibly can for free in this space, but this isn't the university classes, right? So there's only so much I can give you. So let me I try very hard to give you what will help you and what you can understand, but also I have to always like water it down, okay? For the podcast sake. For the most part, two main things you'll experience. Again, I could teach 9 classes on this, but for the most part, two main things you'll experience. Number one, you're going to feel what that feels like, and the frequencies are going to change, and those thoughts are going to start to alchemize to some degree automatically. I am the way of connection. I am the way of connection. Okay. So you'll see a difference. And then later on, when you start to move throughout your day, 5 minutes later, an hour later, that's when the Archons are going to attack more. So that's one thing that you'll experience. Second thing that you could experience, again, there's so many, but I'm going to try to keep it simple for this. Second thing you'll experience is you'll start to activate, and the Archons are going to, those entities that are around you are like, oh, hell no, you're not going to go higher. So then the thoughts start getting crazy right away. They get worse, louder, all the intrusive. Oh, and it almost is like they're taking you over. Okay. There is nothing to be afraid of. Let me make this very clear. These stupid Archon motherfuckers, they're doing what they do. They only know how to do this. This is what they've been created to do. So as they are created as beings that just do this, they're existing as they were created to exist. They don't know how to be anything other than what they are. Ooh, let that sink in. So they're going to fight harder because they're going to feel starved, dying, weaker. When you raise your frequency, they can't feed off of you anymore, right? If a leech latches onto you to suck your blood and you're like, get off of me, pick it off, toss it. That leech has no blood to suck from your body anymore. What's it going to do? It needs to latch on and suck the blood out of a living being. As gross and gnarly as that is 100% what Archons are doing energetically. Do you understand? So you're picking them off and you're like, get the fuck out of here. So when you raise your frequency, that's pulling them off. They are scrambling to latch back on to suck the energy out of you that they need to feed off of. And that energy has to be hopelessness and despair and hate and rage and, PTSD, depression, anxiety bullshit. Like they need you in those lower states. That's what they feed off of. Do you understand? So they're going to fight harder, and those programs are going to come, the mental programs are going to come online. There's your psychic attack, that mental anguish where you're like, I'm going crazy. They want you to stop doing the real work. They can't feed off of you if you're a high vibrational frequency. Do you understand? You really have to get that. This is why toxic positivity, avoiding, suppressing, they're still fucking feeding off of those dumb fucks sitting, hanging out with their toxic positivity all on top of Mount Stupid. And they're like, we're at the top of the mountain. Look at us. We're so 5D. You're dumb fucks. The Archons are feeding off you every goddamn day of your lives. You're oblivious to it. Okay. When you do the real actual work, this is why it's warriors work. Because those Archons, they can't feed off of you anymore. And they're going to do everything to pull you down. You have to become the way of wisdom and just know that that's how they work and that's how they function. When you understand that's what it is, and you do the energy work that we teach you at MSU, that's the warrior. Like, fuck you. I might not be able to run a marathon today, but I'm going to run a goddamn marathon, even if all I can do is jog around the block twice today. Or if I can only last a mile, and that's all I got in me right now, I'm going to build myself up to 2 miles, to 5 miles, to 8 miles, to 10, to et cetera, till I run that damn marathon. Do you understand? This is warriors work. Energetically, that's what you're learning how to do. Okay? And then they have no effect on you. They can't affect you when you get to a certain frequency and you get to a certain level with this work. It doesn't mean they won't come around and try. They don't want anybody to be high. They need to bring everybody back down. It doesn't mean they'll never try. They're their own entities. They have free will fucking choice, just like we all do. So it doesn't mean they won't try. It means when they do, it's hilarious. You little fucking evil Archon entity dumb fucks. Get the hell out of here. Here's what you do. Feel my energy. There's no anger. I mean, it's hilarious that they think they can pull you down. Like, when you do this work and you become a being of oneness, they can't. They have no power over you. Oh, guess what? When you get to that level, you're weakening the entire patriarchal cult system because they can't extract your energy any longer to fuel and keep their system in place. You don't consent to it. It weakens all of them, all of them, all of the entire systems that are built on enslavement of humanity. All the corporation, all of these big ag, big pharma, all the big corporations, all the governments in the world that are these patriarchal, parasitic, sadistic psychopaths, they cannot stay as they are. They will all be dismantled and crumble to the effing ground if you learn how to do this work and you understand that along the way it's warriors work, because these Archons are going to be attacking everybody and bringing them lower, lower, lower. And then people look for the easy way out. You want to go to somebody, teachers who aren't fucking teachers at all. I mean, have you woken up to that yet? Jesus Christ, come on, people. God damn, become the way of wisdom. Shit. But you'll go to people, influencers and gurus that tell you what you want to hear. You're just feeding, the Archons are feeding off of the dumb fucks that all perch on Mount Stupid. I mean, come on. So nothing changes because you're not doing the real work. The real work is really, really, it is the payoff is the highest payoff that exists. And it's also the hardest and the most painful along the way. It's both. It isn't one or the other. Old earth, duality consciousness, patriarchy, separation, severance consciousness, oneness. It is both. They both exist sometimes simultaneously. And they just kind of fluctuate in whatever this moment is. If it's a painful one, if it's mental anguish moment, it's a day of mental anguish and psychic attack. Guess what? If you're becoming a being of oneness consciousness, you just realize that's what it is. Do your work, warrior. Just do the damn work. Nobody who even begins to come close to being a being of the way of wisdom, having that flow through them. No one who actually has any level of wisdom should be telling you that once you become a higher level of consciousness, everything is just absolute, meaning in a black and white way, that everything is absolutely fucking easy. Now, is it also true that a lot of things get easier? Yes. Duality consciousness, black, white, one or the other. It has to be one end of the spectrum or the other. Polarized opposites. No. Yes, everything gets easier. And it doesn't mean that you don't have psychic attacks and mental anguish one day. It's just, you know what they are and you know what to do with them. So do it. That's the difference. And then you do it. So here's when you do this and you become more powerful and you become the universal ways of oneness. You then get to a place where you just start commanding. Do you understand that Archons, stop consenting to them just being in your energy? I didn't give you permission to be here. I didn't give you permission to start trying to leech off of my energy. How dare you, violator, which is a form of energetic rape, which is what all patriarchy teaches everybody about. Fucking rape every way you possibly can. You don't get to rape and steal my fucking energy without my goddamn consent. I don't consent to you. I am the way of connection. I am the way of harmlessness and gentleness. I am the way of unconditional love. I am the way of purity. So I purify my energetic fields. I purify you. I wrap you in a web of purity because I am the way of purity. I alchemize you. You want to come anywhere near my energy field, you fucking Archons? You are going to transcend. You're going to be wrapped in the frequency of the way of purity, because I am the way of purity. And I am going to wrap you, and I am going to alchemize you, and you are going to transcend to a higher level of consciousness. And if you choose not to do that and you don't consent to that, then you must get away from me, far, far away. I command you to transcend and alchemize and become a being of oneness. This is a death rebirth for you. I command it to be so. When you enter into my field, I am the commander of my reality. I am the creator of what I create around here. You have no consent or permission to be here in my energy unless you raise your frequency, your level of consciousness. You cannot exist as you are. You need to cease to exist to be in the presence of me. So I command you to rise. I am the way of purity. I am the way of loyalty to becoming something more divine and more powerful, which means if you want to function in oneness instead of separation, you must rise as well when you are in the presence of me. You do not have permission to be here. Command, warriors, command it to be so. And it simply is done. It is that goddamn simple. However, if you don't believe it and you're weak and you have programs of weakness and powerlessness, it doesn't matter what you say. There's no such thing as commanding. I don't care what you say or how you try to say it. Commanding isn't about what you say. It is the energy that you are vibrating as. Do you understand? That's the becoming. You can't fake this shit. So that toxic positivity, faking spirituality crap, I hope you realize all of it is being dismantled and it's being exposed and it's crumbling to the ground. And that means within you as an individual as well. You can't fake this. You can't wear masks and have any of this do anything for yourself in your life. The power that comes from what you are is the power that you are. So it is why healing your trauma, seeing what your programs are that are negative, low, weak, powerless, pathetic, incapable, insecure, all of that, you have to do that shadow work in order for that to be transformed, alchemized, transcended. That has to happen first before you can ever command your reality the way that I just demonstrated. Energies are commanded. You can simply command them. Oh, no, that is what the fucking parasitic elite, psychopathic, patriarchal psychopaths, that's all they are. They don't want you to know that. They don't want you to become what you innately are. Now, they don't really care if you intellectually know all that, because most people will intellectually know that and have no fucking idea how to achieve it energetically. They haven't become it yet. That's the missing piece. This is why all of our foundational coursework at Masters of Self University is teaching you all this, the becoming of it, the become. And sorry, but not sorry. Any of these stupid fucks out here that are like, you already are. No, you really? Okay. So you have everything. The whole world is transformed because we already are enlightened. Get the fuck out of here. Stop listening to people tell you what your ego wants to fucking hear, and listen to what you need to hear instead, and put the work and effort in to become what you need to become on this planet for your own life, for your own joy, for your own elevation, for your own evolution, which then in turn impacts in a positive, powerful way every other being on the whole damn planet, because we are one. In oneness, you do it for yourself as you are doing it for everyone else. Both exist simultaneously. I am you and you are me. Do you understand? That's the real work. So remember, all your negative thoughts are not, well, all of it's Archons. Nope. I taught you, number one, it was your own shit first, and you got to heal that, and you have to learn that process, and you have to do it. Number two, what is also happening? All those intrusive thoughts that want to bring you down right when you rise up higher, they want to attack and bring you down. Go back and listen to this episode again so that you understand you need to gain discernment between those two. Okay. You have to gain part of raising your level of consciousness. Every time you go to a higher level of consciousness, discernment raises up as well. There is a whole new level of discernment that has to be achieved and mastered at higher levels of consciousness. Do you understand? And there are 12 levels of oneness consciousness. 12 levels. The entire world would completely change if the majority of people on this planet just focused on becoming the very first level of oneness consciousness. The whole fucking world would change just at the first level. So become it. You have that power. So do it. Stop making excuses. But hopefully now you understand that peace, that mental anguish, those psychic attacks are more often than not, are very commonly, regularly, archons attacking you. And those are energies, those are entities, energetic entities that literally that's what they do. They feed off of you because that is what helps keep humanity low, unconscious, in anguish, in, emotional turmoil, in survival mode, in suffering, in negativity. And that's how you're controlled. And that's how you're enslaved. Okay. So you understand how that works. I'm going to say one more piece that I'm going to teach you because this is really critical. Oh, just meditate. Just meditate. Go fuck off with your meditation shit. Pseudo spiritualists, fake gurus. No. Guess what? If you simply ignore archons, I'm just going to meditate. Just ignore the thoughts. It doesn't mean do not attach energetically to your thought. Yes, ignore them. It doesn't mean that doesn't also exist. Because when you meditate and when you do work, your mental programs are going to activate and all those things are real and true. Just don't pay attention. Let them be there. You've heard all of that. If you've been taught and you were, learning meditation, and what are some tips to help me because my mind goes crazy when I try to meditate. So it doesn't mean that those things aren't true. Don't misunderstand and distort my teachings of oneness with your distortion of duality consciousness. It doesn't mean those things aren't true. And it doesn't mean those tips cannot be beneficial sometimes. When it comes to archons, no. Gain the discernment there. Simply ignoring them when they're actual archons, not just your own mental programming, your own thoughts, your own ego's thoughts, et cetera, when they're actual negative energetic entities that are what archons are, simply ignoring them makes them louder. They'll scream louder at you. Okay. By the way, I'm going to give you one more thing because I just thought of it and it's important. It'll help you understand. People with schizophrenia, those are fucking archons doing their work, doing what they do. Pay attention to somebody that has schizophrenia. Pay attention to what you could learn and look up about schizophrenia. Traditional psychology is all, of course, horse shit. But people with schizophrenia, when they talk about hearing the voices, you can literally track patterns. Somebody with schizophrenia, what we've been told schizophrenia is, what we've been told it is, it doesn't make sense if you actually track schizophrenics' patterns, thought patterns of, quote unquote, the voices that talk to them. If you track them, the way that we have been taught in traditional psychology what schizophrenia is, listen to my words carefully, all of the voices they hear would be distorted, scattered, random, all over the place, wouldn't make any sense. That's what we've been taught about schizophrenia. They're crazy, they're this, they're that, right? No. Schizophrenics, people who have schizophrenia, they have archons talking to them, influencing them, literally having full-blown conversations. coherent conversations back and forth. They're talking to entities. They are having conversations with entities. And you want to know what Archons love to do with people who are on psych meds? Well, you understand that because especially with schizophrenia, a lot of people with schizophrenia, it's very challenging to keep them on medication. I'm not saying medication is good or bad. Pharmaceuticals fucking suck. I'm just talking about this one specific example. Don't come at my comments about and make it into something that it isn't about. I want you to understand the teaching so that you better understand Archons here. Because these are actual entities, beings. You just can't see them. So they'll have full-blown conversations and they will tell them, you do understand what these meds are doing to you, right? Because they're dangerous and they're harmful. Guess what? They are. Pharmaceutical, all these antipsychotics they are so dangerous. They are so harmful to the body. They cause all these horrible, horrific side effects and problems. They disease your body. They tear your body down. Go look it up. So here's what happens. People with schizophrenia, these Archons are telling them this because the Archons want them off the meds because they can't feed off of them in the same way. So they get them off the meds by helping them. So you can just go, go do your research on pharmaceuticals and the side effects and what meds am I taking and what are the side effects and what damage does this do to the body? And then they're reading, oh my gosh. So all the psychologists and psychiatrists are really the evil ones pumping me full of these goddamn pharmaceuticals. Now I don't trust them because they're poisoning me, literally, because they are. And now I feel better off of the medication because I'm detoxing now, and these voices are helping me. And yet, once a person's off, the voices are easier to hear. They're louder. And then they can create more intense emotion again, because remember, that's what the Archons feed off of. So then the negative emotions, the extremes of those emotions and suffering and agony and emotional turmoil and being distraught and in despair and mental anguish and all of it, depression and et cetera, all of that activates more fully. And then the Archons have a very abundant food source all over again. You see it? That's why cycles, when you see these cycles play out with people that are like diagnosed schizophrenia. I had a kid, I worked so many years ago, 20 some, I don't know how many years, 20 some, over 25 years ago, I would say. I was working at a school with children, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, in the United States, in Philly. And these kiddos are diagnosed as, clinical diagnosis was emotionally disturbed, and then like usually a slew of other things. There was this kid who was a giant. He looked like a 16 to 18-year-old kid. He was 12. Giant kid. Think of a big brown teddy bear, those like giant life-size, massive, big brown teddy bears. He was like this gigantic teddy bear. And I mean, really visually picture one. The life size, well, they're 3 times bigger than you. He was like that. And this poor kid, go research when you're diagnosed with schizophrenia. And they could have changed the rules in the last 25, however many years, but never did they used to diagnose anyone really young. It's too challenging to diagnose it. So you didn't get a clinical diagnosis as schizophrenic or schizophrenia as a teenager, for example. So freaking rare. And yet this kiddo actually had a diagnosis of that. That was one of his clinical diagnoses. And he would have full-blown conversations. Now, I did not know Archons existed way back then. No clue that they existed. And yet looking back, the more I realized all the entities that are keeping us as a slave planet and all the reptilian, all the beings that are what they are in the parasitic class that keeps the rest of, sentient beings enslaved here. The more I learned about all that, oh my gosh, I would think back to that kiddo. And it's a classic example. He 100% was just attacked by Archons. They were controlling him and manipulating him and telling him to do things. And he would have full-blown conversations with them. He was not incoherent when he had these conversations. He didn't have random thoughts that just made no fucking sense. He was having full-blown conversations. And I even told him, there were a couple times that I spent time with him. I'm like, well, just talk to me about what the conversations you're having. And he would get on, and I'm like, listen, I'm not your psychiatrist. It's okay to tell me what they're saying to you. I'm not going to judge you for it. I'm just trying to understand. And there were a couple times that we had conversations and he just told me, Claire, well, they're saying this and and I'm saying that. And you would hear him talk back and forth. I know he would literally go, if you're just listening audio, sorry, you're not going to see this. I'm putting my hand over my face like you're going to tell a secret to somebody. So anybody watching on YouTube or wherever, this is literally what he would do when he would have conversations with them. They would start talking to him about the other kiddos and the other people in school or classroom or whatever. And he would, I know, and he would turn like this and cover. And he would lean in like he was telling secrets. And then he would stop talking and he would lean his ear in like this to like he was listening closer. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I used to witness this back then, and I just kind of took it all in. And I didn't know what to make of it, but I learned and I studied it and I observed it. And I'm like, there's something so important here that I don't yet, have the capacity to know or understand what's happening. But there's something beyond what any fucking traditional psychologist or psychiatrist. That's not a dig on any individual. It's the system of psychology, which is fucking stupid. So that system, I knew they didn't have the answers, but I learned so much from that kiddo. Observing him. And years later, when I realized what all this stuff is, those are Archons manipulating and taking control of a person. And guess what? I said he's this big, gigantic, massive boy. Obviously he'd be a man now, but big, gigantic, massive boy that could end up really fucking harming people and hurting people just because of his mere size alone. And he's a man, and he's a boy. He would be a man. So that's a good person to control in this patriarchal, psychotic world, because he can be convinced to do a lot of harm violently against other people because he's being controlled by Archons. You cannot meditate and they go away. You can't just ignore the quote unquote thoughts and they just go away. That's not how they work. They are entities. Okay. If you and I are standing together and you were like, Rachel, just go away. And I said, no, I'm going to stay right fucking here. I'm not going anywhere. That's my free will choice. I can just stay here. So they have free will choice. Simply ignoring them, they get louder. You know why they get louder? They know they can tear you down and break you down. Because we're so low in our level of consciousness, that's how it works. That's how they win. That's how they regain control and get you into suffering and agony and mental anguish and emotional disdain and hopelessness and rage again. They can trick you and manipulate you by getting louder. They just get louder and it's like, oh, here it is. Oh my God, I'm going crazy. No, you're not. The Archons are doing what they do. So what do? Warrior, alchemize frequencies. Change your individual frequency. Do the damn work. Heal your goddamn traumas. They can't latch on to anything if you have nothing for them to latch on to. No more wounds, no more trauma, no more shadow self, no more fucking ego. There's nothing for them to hold on to and latch on to. That's number one. Raise your frequency. Get it higher. You can't fake that shit. No toxic positivity, pseudo-spiritual bullshit. You have to do the real work. You're a warrior. Do it. You're powerful enough to do it. Just because it's an unpleasant process doesn't mean you can't do it and you're not capable. Start seeing yourself for the divinely powerful being that you actually are. Live up to it. It is what you innately are. Start acting like it in your human form. Do the fucking work. Raise your frequency. Activate those ways of oneness. Become them. Learn what it means to actually become them. They are not tools outside of you unless you use them as such, and then they're going to fade, not work for you anyway. It is what you innately are. You have to become that frequency. Exist at that frequency. Become those frequencies in human form. When you can do that, you can simply command those motherfuckers to get away from you, or you transform them. They go through a spiritual death rebirth and come out birthed a higher entity, a higher frequency being, you actually have the power to do that to these things. That's what the parasitic elite class don't ever want you to fucking know. You can change more things in a mystical, powerful, divinely magical way than you've ever been conditioned to never believe. You have more power than your stupid little mind can comprehend. So get out of your mind, drop into your heart, activate your divinity. And on the hardest, most challenging days, do the real fucking work and don't make excuses. Archons cannot manipulate you, control you, influence you in any goddamn way if you do this work for real and you stop at nothing. So do it. And see where it takes you in life. See what your life becomes when you do. That's all I got for now. Thanks for listening. I will see you in the next one, and I'm excited for you to come back when you are even more powerful then than you are in this moment. Do the work, become what you are here to become, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye for now, everybody.